What is going on? Another episode of The Mandalorian, episode 3. What's the title of it?
The Convert.
Oh, okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go on.
Yeah. Before we get started, I want to give a quick pause to remember Lance Reddick. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was made famous by The Wire, but he also is in shows like Fringe, which he was awesome in. He was also in that show Bosch. He was in tons of shows. I think he was in a Resident Evil show. He was in the last Godzilla vs. King Kong. But most notably for Destiny 2 fans, he was the voice of one of the main characters, Savala. So I just feel real sad for him and his family. He was only 60 years old, and apparently it was natural causes. So like, it's just, you never know, man. So again, much love to him, to his family and his friends, and to everybody who knew him and was a fan of his. Real rough.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sad to hear.
Yeah. All right, so today's episode we've got, we're going to talk about The Mandalorian, we're going to talk about the key characters, we're going to talk about how we feel about the show, we're also going to talk about some news you can't abuse. We have 4 different things this week.
The return of news you can abuse.
There's actually a little bit of news to talk about.
Nice.
All right, so this episode, do you want me to start off with a synopsis, or do you want? What do you want?
First off, I've got a couple of questions, and I'm sure like some people listening to us have similar questions. So
maybe, I don't know.
This episode, I'm the only one with these questions.
Some people, I got a feeling that people who are listening to this probably know more about Star Wars than we do. And they kind of just listen to it for some kind of macabre laughs, which is fine with me.
Hey,
whatever reason you want to listen to it.
I mean, I think of like our podcast as, if you don't have friends that you can talk to about whatever TV show you're watching, you can listen to our podcast.
Yes,
that's one. That's one thing, and then the other thing is like, especially with the comic book stuff. Like, there's lots of things you learn from listening to this podcast. True. So, that's true. Anyway,
we can work on it. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, my 2 questions as I'm watching this, and I had to like go back and do some reading because I don't really remember a whole lot about this Dr. Penn Pershing guy. He plays a big part in this episode.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't a big part in Mandalorian season 1. He was kind of like a side little nerd scientist type dude.
Apparently. Yeah, he's the scientist that's going to, I guess, draw blood from Grogu and like do some kind of experiments.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm thinking was, and this is just from me thinking, Grogu's people, I like to call them the Yoda people, but I'm sure they have an actual real name. They are all strong with the Force. That race of beings are strong with the Force. And so I think what they wanted to do was take his blood and then impart. Because like back in Star Wars,
because we learned in the first the Phantom Menace that the Force is like it's in your blood.
What's it called? Midichlorians or something like that.
Midichlorians, yeah.
Which, I mean, take it as you will, whatever. But apparently, midichlorians are all over the place. But certain life species have more than others. So I guess when you're born, you have a certain amount of them in your blood. It's like random. I don't know. Who knows? It seems kind of weird to me. I guess it works. But that race of creatures have a lot of that stuff. And he wants to, and to be honest with you, it makes sense. And I'm surprised it took somebody that long to be like, let's get these people, get their blood, and then I can have the Force in me, which is, I mean, the Force is such a powerful thing.
Right.
But yeah, Penn Pershing and even Elia Kane, those 2 characters weren't that big a deal in the episodes. Like you could blink and not miss them. But
it seems like particularly the Elia Kane, like
she was just
from what I remember, she's basically just what's his name? The guy, the big bad guy. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Moff Gideon.
She's Moff Gideon's toady. Basically.
Yeah, it's Imperial Stooges, Oh, that's pretty good. Imperial Stooges. It's just like these people
who like that
do bad things, right? And like, but I think this episode humanizes Penn Pershing pretty well. So let me give a synopsis of the episode, and then we can get into the details. So the episode starts off with, what's her face? What's her name? Starbuck. What's the character's name? Hello. Draw the blank.
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. Yeah, Bo-Katan it's like, hey, we bathed in the waters. Are you okay? And then like the Mandalorian's like, yeah, I feel fine. And he's like, okay, I bathed in the waters. And he took a water sample. He's like, okay, I'm going to prove that I bathed in the waters. And she's like, hey, did you see a big monster down there? And he's like, what? She's like, nothing.
Well, she wasn't that direct about it. She's like, did you see anything alive down there?
But I mean, come on, that's going to come back up. I mean, that monster's going to show up and save their lives at some point. Right here.
Yeah,
now,
but so at this point, the only person in the world that knows that the mythosaur is not a myth is Bo-Katan.
Well, I mean, people believed it was real a long time ago.
But people forgot. For sure, right.
So anyway, that monster's going to show back up. So let's get ready for it. Anyway,
what do you think she's going to do with that information? Is she going to keep it to herself? She going to
I don't know.
Use it to take over all of the Mandalorians? I don't know what she's going to do. But she's going to stab Mando in the back.
There's a whole thing with this is going to come up later. So I'll go. Let me work out the synopsis. Okay. So anyway, they get in the ships. And then Imperial starships.
Yeah, TIE fighters.
Yeah, no, they're not TIE fighters. They were different than TIE fighters. They're
TIE somethings.
Interceptors. They were TIE
interceptors.
So like TIE fighters have the little rectangular wings.
Doesn't the I in TIE does not stand for interceptor. It stands for like ion engine, I think.
But like the TIE fighters have rectangle wings, and TIE interceptors have like those little like
pointy wings.
Anyway, pew 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 pew, zoom zoom, bam, boom, and then Mandalorian he jumps out of the ship and he flies down to his ship. He's like, oh.
I like that scene a lot.
Like,
I like that scene a lot.
Like, pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, so he jumps out of her ship.
Yeah.
His jump out of the ship was a little lame looking, but the scene after that was super cool.
I'm sorry that jumping out of a spaceship isn't cool enough looking for you. I don't know what else we could do to make that more awesome.
Like, he jumps, I don't know, I think they could have done a better job with the jump itself, but after that, him falling, and like, he's falling, the TIE fighters are like, or TIE interceptors are like right there, and it's like they're almost hitting him, like he's almost a goose. Flying into the engine of a TIE interceptor.
I would have been awesome if you did that. Yeah. He gets in his ship. Yeah. He's like, pew, pew, pew,
just barely gets into a ship.
Yeah. And like it's like flying around. But then like it was kind of a distraction because then the Imperials people bombed
TIE bombers.
They bombed her home. They destroyed her house.
Yeah, there was a squadron of TIE bombers.
Yeah, she got real mad, but then like they were overwhelmed and they got out of there and went to a secret place.
I'm remembering all of these ships from playing X-Wing and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Mm-hmm. Did you ever play those games?
I did. It's really fun.
Really good. Took up a lot of my college.
Yeah, I got through the one campaign at one point. I thought it was really fun, but it's really fun. But that whole sequence was really fun, really great. A good chunk.
Yeah, very good.
It's all the action you're going to see the rest of the episode, so get used to that. But once again, our heroes had to get out of there. And then we get to Coruscant.
So sad though, Bo-Katan's castle is destroyed.
Yeah, she'll find doing. But then we get to. I mean, whatever. It was too big for her to keep anyway. What's she gonna do? Like clean the whole place?
That's a good point.
And then she was sitting on a chair, staring at the floor the whole time. Which,
right?
Come on,
Think about her. Think about her droid though.
Oh, it's dead. It's okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
They're not. I don't know. I don't know the ethics.
It's disassembled.
I don't know the ethics of droids in the Star Wars universe. I'm sure there's an article written about it somewhere. But then we get to Coruscant. So, Mike, when was the last time you saw Coruscant?
Coruscant. I have absolutely no idea. But it's like the big city in the Star Wars universe.
It was in the first movie. It was in the first prequel movie, the second prequel movie, and the third prequel movie. It
was in all three?
It was a centerpiece of all three movies, yes.
Is that where Queen Amidala is from?
No, she's from a different planet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Her planet was destroyed in Star Wars: A New Hope. Duh.
Oh, that's right. What was her planet?
Alderaan.
That's it.
Yeah, it got blown up.
But it was also a very advanced planet.
Yeah, it was until it got blown up. So then, Coruscant is they actually have a name for it. I forget what it's called, but it's actually a term. But the city covers the entire.
Yeah, the term is like for the city that's like world-spanning city, basically.
I did some reading on it, and in the lore, the plant is completely decimated, and so the sea is covering the plant, but the plant they covered is like gone. That plant is like because all the technological achievements and stuff they did. They
remember the peak of the mountain, the highest peak.
Yeah, it's like
on the planet.
That made me so.
Is
sad.
like 20 feet tall monument in the city.
It made me very sad. I didn't like that. It made me sad.
Yeah. That's
take care of your.
That's one of those. Well, I mean, so that's how high above the surface of the planet they are.
Yeah, but the planet,
like that mountain, is still there. I don't think they've destroyed the mountain. I think their city is basically level with the peak of the highest mountain on the planet.
But the rest of the planet's destroyed. I mean, like there's no natural resources or anything under there.
So nobody's living like on the surface. Everybody's living on the flooding.
There's no sun penetrating that. What are they doing? Like it's dead. It's a dead
artificial light, LEDs.
No, it's a dead plant under there. Unless there's some kind of fun lore story where the plant's cool and healthy and lush, which is not. It's the dead plant, which maybe real sad.
I mean, I was sad for another reason, just because you can build your city to the height of the highest peak on your planet doesn't mean you should.
I don't think you should do anything that messes with the natural resources. To be honest with you, I'm becoming an environmentalist the older I get. I think that happens to you when you get older.
Everyone should be.
You just start caring more.
I mean, it is where we live.
Yeah, but we get two characters. We get Penn Pershing, who does a TED Talk in front of a bunch of people at Coruscant.
That was weird to me.
It was.
Why is he talking if he's just he's
a scientist?
He's just a member of the their
amnesty program,
and he's not going to be doing any of the things that he talked about. He's just doing like some lame data entry job.
There's a couple different reasons why they did that. First, if you watched Revenge of the Sith, that place was in the movie. So you remember?
Oh yeah, and so I've heard people talking about that. Like this is a throwback to the Revenge of the Sith movie.
Yeah, so you remember it a little bit.
I'm pretty sure I never actually watched that movie since I don't remember that at all.
We should. It's not as terrible as you think it would be. It's actually okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fine. It's like we've watched way worse movies than that.
Gotcha.
But his little TED Talk was kind of fine. But what interests me the most is like he had all these rich aristocrats. And that one guy was like, I can't tell the difference between the Empire, the New Republic, or the Rebels. It's all the same.
Right.
And then
they're all the same.
That's why I don't get involved. I'm like, where have you guys been? So it's actually interesting how like they can just be removed from the war. I guess you were on Coruscant, the war didn't affect you that much. And they talked about how I would like to learn more about the outer rim and the inner rim and the politics and stuff like that. But anyway, Penn Pershing is a part of this amnesty program where people who used to work for the Empire now are trying to rehabilitate and work for the Republic, the New Republic.
It's a good idea in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than putting people in jail for the rest of our lives. They should
or killing them.
Yeah, they should try to rehabilitate them. And he meets Elia Kane. And they become kind of friends.
Elia Kane? Elia Kane?
I
think it's Elia Kane.
Elia Kane, yeah. But we don't know that at the time because they have numbers and names, which is odd.
Right.
I guess because they're inmates, so they get...
Well, that's so that they don't know each other.
Yeah, but there's a level of control to that, too. Like, if you're just a number, then you don't have a personality, which is, I guess, what they want. But for some odd reason, I
wonder how used you get to calling people by their designation. Hey, what's up, M26?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
You probably get used to it pretty fast.
Yeah, I guess.
But Penn Pershing starts thinking about his work, his research work. Apparently, he's a clone guy. Stuff like that.
Yeah, he specializes in cloning. Did you notice? Very strange reaction. Okay, so when he first shows up to the drinking party that's going on, this one dude invites him over. He's like, "Hey, come drink with us." And he approaches the guy that invited him to go drink, and the guy's like, "Hey, you're new." And Dr. Penn Pershing says, "What do you mean?" What does anybody mean when they say, "Hey, you're new"?
I mean, he's new.
It means you're new. You're not from around here, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a clone.
No.
I don't think this is really him. Why else would he say, "What do you mean? Hey, you're new"?
He's not a clone.
But why would he say that?
He's not a clone.
It's the weirdest reaction to that question possible.
Not really. It's not that weird. He was new. Like here's a rule from my creative writing workshops. If the story doesn't give you any information that make you think that he's a clone, he's not a clone. There's nothing else in the story that makes you think that he's a clone.
He has an extremely weird reaction.
It's not that weird.
It's very weird.
No. If he's a clone, I will give you $5.
And then later in the show, Elia Kane says to him, I'm looking forward to this $5.
It's not coming.
Later in the show, Elia Kane says to him, you're melting.
Yeah, because his popsicle was melting.
Yeah, but I thought that was also maybe a reference to him being a clone.
This show is a little bit contrived enough that he could be a clone. That's so I might have to give you $5, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
So if he is a clone, great. Woohoo. But I don't think he is.
I just thought that was extremely odd reactions. Saying, hey, you're new.
I have odd reactions. I have odd reactions on a daily basis. But anyway, Penn Pershing wants to restart his research, but he's feeling frustrated because he technically can't do it because he was part of the Empire.
Right.
And Elia Kane's like, hey, I can get you the stuff to make it. He's like, no. But then he goes to his robot therapist. He gets more frustrated. And then, like, his job is destroying the stuff that he needs.
Robot therapist.
And he decides, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to start my research. And she's like, okay. And she goes on a train ride with him to go to a Imperial Star Destroyer, which is insane. Is it a Star Destroyer?
It is a Star Destroyer.
What's the bigger one? It's a bigger one. It's a Super Star Destroyer. Okay. So
probably.
The Star Destroyers are what they got on, but then the Super Star Destroyer is what was in Empire Strikes Back, which was way bigger, which is so cool. I think it's huge. I love big ships. I love that stuff. Anyway, they had the race from a robot train conductor. No tip. Get it? Anyway, what reference is that from, Mike? No ticket. That's no ticket.
I have no idea.
Okay, if you know that reference, put it into our Mastodon feed later. Anyway, they jump off the train. They get into the
and somehow survive.
It's a fun. What gets me though is like, why is it that Star Wars has less technology than we do? I can't walk to the store without getting on 50 different security cameras. I really can't. Because I live in DC, they have cameras everywhere. So if I walk from my apartment to the store, I'm on cameras the entire time. Are they not on cameras? But there's a reason for that.
You forget that there's
a reason for that. I'm going to get to it.
This is in a galaxy far away, and it's like a long time ago.
The Star Wars technology has always frustrated me because it feels like they have all this cool technology, but then they don't have cool technology, which is odd. But anyway.
It just evolved on a different line than ours.
And it's also made up.
They created different things.
It's also fake.
They have lightsabers. We have iPods.
Nothing. We have nothing as cool. We have nothing as cool as lightsabers.
They don't have iPhones.
Why, yeah, like I said, they have. I'd rather have a lightsaber than an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same, but
yeah, there you go. We have done nothing with our technology. Except make games, make a device, make $1,000 device that I play games on. That's what I.
Yeah, you never see anybody playing games in these.
No, they're too busy trying to do good
Star Wars
things
stuff,
or hit people with lightsabers. Anyway, they go into the Star Destroyer, get the stuff they need, but then they get busted on the way out. And it turns out that Elia Kane pulled the same thing that the FBI does all the time.
Entrapment.
The FBI, for example, will, hey, you want to blow up a government building? Okay, I'll help you. And then
there's some bomb materials.
Yeah, and as soon as you put it all together, and as soon as you drive the van to where you're going, busted, you go to jail. I have serious ethical issues with this, even though I know the FBI is trying to keep us safe. At the same time, what? So it's the same thing. It's very interesting. It was a nice little. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it made sense because it was so easy for them to get into there, and get the materials. But at the same time, man, she's cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded.
She is cold-blooded, which makes me question, who is the evil one here?
Where?
Or who's the baddie? Who's the baddie out of these two?
Well, I think she's not a very good person, morally, ethically. You know, she's just that's a bad thing to do.
She's still working for Moff Gideon.
Maybe, but what the thing is, like, if she really cared about him, she could have been like, "Hey, don't do what you think about doing. Just try to."
Well, she egged him on the whole way.
Yeah, she definitely entrapped him. It was
right.
If he had a chance to get a lawyer, he might be able to get out of it.
Like he never would have done it without her egging him on, or at least he wouldn't have done it anywhere near as fast as he did.
But then
it would have taken years instead of days.
But then the New Republic decides to put him into a mind flayer to try to cook his brain a little bit, try to make him feel better. That's wrong too. Everybody, like, all of a sudden, what?
They were giving him micro doses though of the
no.
They were microdosing him. They were going to give him like a really low level signal of the mind flayer.
As soon as you strap someone into a machine to do anything to their mind, you've crossed a very huge line for me. Like,
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You're not like, I thought these guys were good guys. Like that.
I agree with you. But they were going to just give him like a microdose of it. She cranked it up.
They said that he was indoctrinated by the Empire, but did that mean that I don't think he was indoctrinated by Empire. I think he was just working for a bad company. But then the New Republic's like, you got indoctrinated. We're going to zap your brain. It's like, what? Hey, did you get the reference to Star Wars?
Like, it really shouldn't have that dial.
Did you get the reference to Star Wars Episode 3, Episode 6?
No.
Where he said it was a trap. I was trapped. Did you get that?
Oh yeah.
That was really good. I was trapped, and then like the little fish fan looked at him. I was trapped.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, Elia Kane is left alone, and then she turns the mind flare thing up to 11, and she cooks his brain more. Like what?
Right.
I don't know. I guess she's working for Moff Gideon. I don't know.
So like it's either she's trying to work for the New Republic, but she's still got her imperial style of work, which is not good at all.
Here's what I think is happening. Are you ready?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
We got two things that have to connect. The Empire, or I don't want to call them the Empire, but Imperial remnants attacked our dude Mandy and his girlfriend. What's his face? What's her name?
Bo-Katan.
Yeah. So that's one. So that's one Imperial remnant connection. The second Imperial remnant connection was Elia Kane and Penn Pershing. So I'm thinking that Moff Gideon or some kind of Imperial remnant is going after the people that attacked Moff Gideon, right? Because he went after Starbuck. What's her name? I cannot remember her name. Bo-Katan. He went after Bo-Katan. Right, and then like
she was also like she had been stealing from Imperial warlords. So
yeah,
but the fleet that attacked her was not just like an Imperial warlord fleet. It's like
something else.
The real Empire is coming after her for some reason.
We got two Imperial connections. My hope is that these connections meet somewhere. I don't want to have watched this episode for nothing. I mean, I want there to be some kind of payoff for the rest of the episode.
Right.
The acting was well done. The special effects were amazing. I know.
You think so?
I know where all the Disney special effect money is going. I know where all of it. They couldn't make She-Hulk look good, but they can make this. I mean, there was a scene.
I watched this episode twice. I watched it once during the middle of the day with like my TV kind of washed out, and then I watched it once at night. When I was watching it with my TV washed out, like all of these scenes with Penn Pershing and Elia Kane, it all looked like they were walking around inside of a video game. But it looked way better when the room was dark and, had a better view of the picture. But like when I was watching it, like kind of washed out, it just looked like everything was shot in the volume and they were just walking around in a video game.
When I watch these episodes on my phone, they don't look as good. But I watched it on my television with the sound up today, and there's a scene when Mandy gets into his ship and then takes off real fast. It does a 90-degree lift.
Right, vertical takeoff.
Absolutely real to me. That looked. I know it wasn't real, but
that looked really good.
Real.
And then he stalls it. He stalls it and flips back down. That was so cool.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, we couldn't get She-Hulk to look good the entire season of She-Hulk, but they can do stuff like this. Maybe they're more used to it because they have all the Star Wars stuff they've done before. Maybe they're not trying to look at human flesh. Maybe it's only for a few minutes versus an entire show. But come on, I mean, the whole thing looked really. There was nothing I saw.
I mean, there's a lot of computer imagery throughout this episode.
But it looked good. Like I didn't complain once about any of it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not like She-Hulk where they just had like a few scenes where there were visual effects that they needed to work on. This is the entire show.
Yeah, we will talk more about this in a little bit when we get to news you can abuse. But I'm very curious about the budgeting process at Disney. I don't think it's egalitarian at all. There's some interesting pushes and pulls here. We'll get to that. But that's it. Oh, at the end of the episode, Mandy and Bo-Katan. I'm going to keep calling him Mandy because I like it now. Mandy and
Mando.
I like Mandy better. Mandy and Bo-Katan.
It's just you.
Yeah, they show up at the Mandalorian planet home rebel base. And they prove they prove they were bathed, and Bo-Katan is part of the clan because she was bathed and she hadn't taken her helmet off yet. But Mike, if you notice something, the camera pans to that sort of dragon head that was mounted on a wall. Did you see that?
Yeah, the mythosaur.
Yeah, that's the symbol of their clan. And and she saw the mythosaur. I think there's something there for Bo-Katan. This is going to come up. Bo-Katan's having a little faith thing going on, and I'm very curious to see how this works and how it pays off. I'm also very curious if Katie Sackhoff is in the suit. I'm very curious if she's in there with her helmet on. I don't think she is.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, one last thing.
There was also one member of that tribe. We know his name, but I'm blanking on it right now. But he's the big, kind of thick Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's voiced by our boy.
Who?
Jon Favreau.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, he's voiced by Jon Favreau.
Is that Jon Favreau?
No, it's not him in the suit. It's somebody else in the suit, but that's who's voicing it. But like he's the guy that challenged Mando for the Darksaber.
Mandy. Yeah.
Mando. So he's still not fully on board with these two being redeemed.
We'll see.
It seems.
Last thing. Why does our Mandalorian, what's his name? Din Djarin. Why does he look cooler than everybody else?
I told you this already.
No, you didn't.
Everybody else's suits are painted. His is just raw Beskar steel because he ain't got time to paint his suit.
Okay, that's silly. And second,
it's like his suit's the DeLorean.
Whose suit would you wear? You saw all those different Mandalorians.
His is cooler. His is cooler.
His is cool. So can't everybody else be this is cool? Like if I was a Mandalorian, I'd
because they would all be unpainted. They'd all look alike.
But if I was a Mandalorian and I saw Mandy show up, I'd be like, why can't I look like him? Why does he look so cool?
So here's the interesting thing, right? Boba Fett was the Mandalorian before this show, right?
Yeah.
He was not. I mean, you talk about a Mandalorian.
Sure.
Everybody's like, "Oh, that's Boba Fett," right?
Yeah.
Boba Fett's suit looked cool.
No, it did until we saw.
It did until the Mandalorian showed up with his unpainted suit.
It did until Star Wars: Attack of the Clones, and then his father looked cool.
I don't remember how did his father look.
He looked real cool. He almost looked like Mandy did.
Okay. Yeah, I just think the unpainted Beskar still looks better than painted.
Well, if I was a Mandalorian,
and the problem is that they all like they're
it's like a bunch of clowns. They look like a bunch of clowns. They do.
I mean, their tradition is to paint their
If I saw a bunch of Mandalorians come at me and be like, "You guys look like clowns," like I'm not scared of you. Like a bunch of crayons. Like I'm not doing it.
And Mando, he just said he ain't got time for that.
Okay. What did you think of the episode?
It was super weird. It was super weird to spend the majority of the time of the episode without the Mandalorian.
I didn't mind it. I actually enjoyed the entire episode. This is the one I've enjoyed the most.
Really?
I thought the storytelling was good. I thought the acting was good. I thought the special effects were good. Everything was good. I'm how many episodes do we have? 8?
We can't have too many episodes like this, though.
Maybe. I mean, how many episodes do we have? 8?
I think 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sad when this ends because I'm kind of getting into it now.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's good to hear.
I'm getting into it enough that when I watch it, I'm not like annoyed. I'm like, okay, I get to watch it. I get to watch it. All right.
Right.
Which surprised me, but I'm getting into it. And I might.
Yeah. I don't want this to turn into Moon Knight, where there's very little of the title character in the show. You know what I mean?
Moon Knight had a lot of Moon Knight and Moon Knight.
Not Moon Knight. It had a lot of Grant, whatever, and Steven. Or Mark and Steven. It had a lot of Mark and Steven.
So
and
you want the costume. You want to see Mandy.
I want to see Mando doing stuff.
All right. You will.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
And keep his helmet on. It seems like they're going to be doing that for a while.
I don't want to see his face again. To be honest
with you. I don't need to see his face.
I wish they would
leave that helmet on his
face. Are we ready for some news?
I do think it's kind of stupid that they don't even take their helmets off to eat.
They take their helmets off. They have to do it privately.
Yeah, but like, so they never sit at a table and eat together?
Absolutely not. There was an episode in season 2 where he actually ate by himself. They took the helmet off.
Yeah. I think that's going a little far with your cult.
Well, I'm not going to judge somebody's religion. You know? How dare I do that? Are you ready for some news you can abuse?
I am really ready. I've been waiting for this.
All right, well, first up, all Marvel shows on Disney Plus except 2 are up in the air. We have no idea when we're going to see anything else. What's
that mean?
There's only 2 shows that are locked in. Secret Invasion and Loki. That's it.
Wow.
Everything else is completely, we don't know. Echo, no idea.
We've had no shows so far this year.
Nope. It's March.
So this year we're getting 2 shows as far as we know. Maybe if they figure it out, maybe something else.
Are we even getting another movie this year?
Yeah, we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy.
Are we getting anything after that?
Marvels?
No. Yeah, that's in November, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a dry spell. But like there was a ton of shows announced, and we're not going to see any of those guys. If you were waiting to see Echo, you're not going to see that. I guess Daredevil.
Yeah, I was looking forward to like Echo or some kind of follow up to Hawkeye.
I guess Daredevil will show up at some point. So here's all the shows that were listed: Echo, Secret Invasion, Loki season 2, Ironheart, Agatha, Covenant, Chaos. And the Thunderbolts. You're not. Here's my predictions right now, guys.
They turned that into a movie, though, didn't they?
I think they did. Okay, so here's the shows that we're supposed to get. Take off Thunderbolts because it's going to be a movie now. Echo, Secret Invasion, Loki season 2, Ironheart, and Agatha, Covenant, and Chaos. Okay,
right.
My predictions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're not going to get Echo. We're not
at all.
No, it's not going to go. They're going to kill it. Ironheart. What they'll probably do is take the story elements for Echo and put it in Daredevil.
Right.
Ironheart will be a show, but not until next year. They'll probably.
I don't need Ironheart. After seeing Ironheart in the Black Panther movie, I don't need a show about that.
Maybe Agatha, Covenant, Chaos. We're probably not going to get that either. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I get it if they're like going to pull back on the quantity and focus on quality. But it sounded like they had a smashing cast pulled together for that show. Like it was going to be a banger based on the casting rumors I've been seeing.
So these shows are expensive to make.
Yeah.
And here's how I feel. based off of looking at Mandalorian, Disney is probably thinking Marvel movies and shows are not bringing in the same amount of money as Star Wars stuff is. So we should put more money and energy into Star Wars and less money into this stuff.
You think so?
Yeah, the whole quality of a quantity thing, capitalism doesn't really believe in that. Capitalism believes in quantity. Period. Like you buy junk.
But the reason they're saying they're focusing on quality over quantity is because the customers are getting they're losing their enthusiasm because of the overwhelming quantity.
Didn't Ant-Man break some records or something?
It did early on, but then it seems like it fell off real quick.
I think that Disney is in financial trouble, and I think they're trying to save face right now. I don't believe anything they say. I don't believe.
Well, I don't know how much trouble they're actually in, but they did change CEOs because they weren't generating the revenue they wanted.
I don't believe anything a company says to me because, like, why would they tell me the truth? It's like I don't.
I mean, yeah,
like they're going to lie to you every time. We are getting a Secret Invasion.
Related to this? Did you see the Willow news?
No, what's that? No.
Did you watch Willow on Disney?
No.
It was a really fun like fantasy series. Like didn't take itself too seriously. I really enjoyed watching it. At first the news was that it was canceled, and then the showrunner came back and he's like, nah, it's not canceled. We just released all of our actors from their contracts because we're not going to be doing anything at all with Willow for at least a year. He said because of, how streaming services, they're all ramping down production. They're not going to do a sequel to Willow as soon as they had planned. They still plan to do one, but nothing's going to happen for a year.
Yeah, we're about to hit a recession, dude. This is what companies do before a recession. They tighten their belts, they bring all their money in, they bank it and invest it in other places, and they don't worry about stuff like this until it's over. Like I can already feel it. This is recession talking. You can just tell it. We are getting Secret Invasion and we are getting Loki. Secret Invasion may come out at the end of May, and Loki might come out at the end of summer. And that's a big one because the distance between Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania, and Loki, are you even going to remember that Kane was in it? Are you even going to care? Like,
you mean between Lokis or between
it's just, this is not good. I think this is a bad decision. I don't know. It gets worse. Secret Wars that was slated to come out in 2026. So we got two.
No, Secret Wars was going to be one of the Avengers movies, right?
We got two Avengers movies that's supposed to come out, and
Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, but
right?
I want to explain some issues here.
Okay.
The Kang Dynasty was supposed to come out in 2025. That's 2 years from now. That means that we need movies.
That was going to be the end of the multiverse saga.
No, the Secret Wars is going to be the end of it.
Oh, I've got the order flip-flopped? Okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, we don't have movies to get that story ramped up. Like 2 years?
Yeah, they'd have to really accelerate. They'd have to really accelerate it.
Yeah, and Secret Wars, what they're saying, it might be a 2-part movie in 2026.
Don't do that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I always said I thought that those two titles seemed like temporary titles to me.
I am extremely concerned about Marvel shows, and I don't think that everything that they announced, even the Daredevil series, I think all of it is on the verge of having some issues. I've even heard some stuff about Blade having some issues. I can't confirm it.
Blade's been having some issues.
Yeah. And so this is not the Marvel Studios that we're used to seeing. This is a different thing.
Right.
And so we just have to kind of wait and see what's going on. But it's just not the fact that we're only going to get 2 shows and 2 more movies this year. I mean, for most people, that's fine. Everybody's going to be okay with it. I think hardcore Marvel fans will survive. But the Marvels has to be a smash.
I think people will like this pace better
I hope so.
If they can figure out the story they're trying to tell with it.
How are you going to remind people about what happened in WandaVision, what happened in Captain Marvel, and what happened in Miss Marvel when the Marvel's coming out in November? How are you going to remind people of these great three really?
They're going to have to start putting. They're going to have to start putting like previously on ahead of the movies.
Yeah, nobody's going to remember it or care. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a 6-year-old kid when Captain Marvel came out, how old you gonna be? Like, you gonna be like what, 9 or 10?
Older than that.
When did Captain Marvel come out?
I don't know.
Well, we got computers. Hang on.
It's been a while.
Marvel. Okay, I got it right here. 2019.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3.
4 years ago.
4 years. Oh my God. Yeah. So if a kid watched it when she was 5, then they're 9. If someone watched it when they were 10, they're like 14. They don't remember any of the stuff. And if you were 15 when you watched this, you're 19. You really don't care. Like, this is a huge problem for them. Because, like, people forget stuff and people lose interest, you know? I don't know, man.
So what's the story about Secret Wars? Is it just like...
It might be a 2-part movie. That's the story.
And it might get pushed.
I'll say it right now. We're probably not going to get a Secret Wars movie. I'll say it right now. We probably are not going to get it. There's going to be
Was it so? Remind me. It was supposed to be the finale of the multiverse saga,
yes.
or the okay.
But it was supposed to be a finale for a big saga that we haven't seen almost anything about yet. You know?
I don't see the connection between what you've told me about Secret Wars in the past and Kang Dynasty. Like, it doesn't seem like those stories fit together, do they?
They were supposed to.
Like, did they in the comics?
No, but
because Secret Wars in the comics was those aliens that could shapeshift.
No,
right?
no. That's Secret Invasion.
That's Secret Invasion. Okay.
Yeah, Secret Wars involved the Beyonder. It involved some resetting of the universes. It was supposed to be a universal reset. Basically, it was supposed to redo the entire Marvel universe so they could go fresh. That's the unofficial version. But I mean, like, you could read the writing on the wall.
Right.
I don't know. Last but not least, Elizabeth Olsen is open to returning to her Scarlet Witch role. She actually talked about how she wants the Scarlet Witch next time she said the next time I play her to be different, which I think is hopeful.
Yeah, of course she's open to playing that role.
I'm surprised. I didn't think she cared.
I mean, it's a big role for her.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Man, that's it. So I'm going to try to track this as best I can for the next few weeks and months to see if I can get some more information about this, because I got a funny feeling that at some point we're going to get a big press conference where someone's like, "Hey, everything that we've talked about Marvel is going to change." Probably because of money. They're having financial issues. I mean, and here's the deal before we end. Disney does not have financial issues. Disney wants to make more money. All right. And so Disney's not broke. The CEOs and the people that work for Disney are not broke. They're thinking, we're not making as much money as we can be. So when a corporation says we're having financial issues, what they're really saying is, I'm not getting paid enough. It's not like they're working a 9-to-5 job at a supermarket. They're working a midnight shift at another grocery store. They're not struggling. They want to make more cash.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I'm not sympathetic to Disney at all. But, I mean, I do enjoy these entertainment properties, and we'll have to wait and see. Anyway.
It's crazy how they own so many different things.
Well, you own, like, what is it? The more money, more problems, right? The more stuff more stuff you have. They have Indiana Jones properties. They have Star Wars properties. They have Pixar. They have Marvels. They have their own Disney stuff. That's a huge portfolio that you have to keep track of, and eventually money is going to start leaking everywhere, and that's where they're probably at right now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if when people start talking about separations. Like when maybe you need to cut this and move that. But I don't know.
Do you think is Kevin Feige's job secure?
I mean, everybody's job's fine. Star Wars is doing great. I mean, the Disney Plus is still making money. People love these Star Wars properties.
They're losing money, but
they're losing money, but it's also very popular. You praise Andor left and right. I mean,
it's awesome.
Yeah, I just feel like at a certain point, someone's going to have to take the helm because after Endgame, they've been kind of fluttering around aimlessly. So we'll just have to see.
Anyway. I don't know. I think they wanted to follow the exact script that they did leading up to Endgame, and you can't follow that same script. Because they've basically, Phase 4 was basically the same thing as Phase 1. Just introducing a bunch of new characters. Real connections between them.
They have a very simple plan.
But I think everybody's expectations are ramped up.
Yeah.
So you can't just do the same thing you did before.
Well, they got to do something. Anyway.
Right.
What's next week, Mike?
Next week is episode 4 of The Mandalorian.
What's the episode?
I mean, they don't give us the titles this early. Yeah, it's just next episode.
So let me ask you a question, Mike. If someone listened to this episode and enjoyed themselves and liked actually hearing us talk about something that we barely know anything about, how can they share that?
We know a lot about it.
I don't know much about this stuff. I don't know much about it. I don't know as much as I should.
We know a lot.
How can they share this with their friends and family?
Follow us, subscribe, rate, review, give us a thumbs up. There's probably stars thrown in there somewhere. Do that. Give us all the stars. But really, there's some way that you can review this podcast with the way that you're listening to it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can write a review out for the podcast, and we would love that. If you're listening to it some other way, there's another way you can review it. Maybe you can write a review. Maybe you can give us a star or a thumbs up or something like that. Just reviews really help. However you're able to review the podcast with the way you're listening, please do that. We would really appreciate it.
Yep. And we will see you guys next week.